Okay, let's dive into this. We hear about financial sanctions all the time, right? They're talked about in the news as this super powerful tool of foreign policy. But what we're really going to dig into today is how this weapon is having this massive and maybe even unintended consequence. It's forcing a whole new financial world map to be drawn. I mean, just imagine it for a second. Your country wakes up one morning and finds out it's been basically unplugged from the global economy. You can't buy the stuff you need, you can't sell the stuff you make, and your currency is in a nosedive. This is the reality for a nation under sanctions. So this isn't some academic question, right? It's literally about survival.
To really get your head around this, let's use a super simple analogy. The whole global financial system is like this giant, interconnected network of highways. And to move pretty much anything on these highways, we're talking oil, food, electronics, you name it, you almost always need one specific kind of fuel, the US dollar.
So this total reliance on one type of fuel, well, that's what turns a financial sanction into a genuine superweapon. So let's break down exactly where all that power comes from.
It's all because the dollar is the world's main reserve currency. That just means most international trade is priced and paid for in dollars. So if you want to play in the global economy, you have to use those highways that run on dollar fuel. And if you're the one who controls the fuel supply, well, you basically control the traffic on every single road.
The way it works is actually shockingly simple. First, a country is targeted. Second, its banks get cut off from the dollar system. The gas pumps are literally shut off for them. And the result? The country's entire economic engine just starts to seize up. It's a devastatingly effective way to apply pressure without ever firing a shot.
But here's where the story gets really, really fascinating. What happens when you block a major highway? People don't just sit in the traffic jam forever, do they? No. They start looking for detours, for back roads, for entirely new ways to get where they need to go. They start building escape routes.
You know that old saying, necessity is the mother of invention? Well, it has never been more true than what we're seeing in global finance right now. When you're faced with economic isolation, you are forced to get real creative, real fast. They're essentially reverse engineering the system to build something new, something that they control.
So what do these escape routes actually look like? Well, one of the biggest tactics is to just bypass the dollar completely. You trade in your own local currencies. Think Russia selling oil to India and getting paid in rupees. Others are building brand new digital payment networks from scratch, creating their own regional banks, and even experimenting with things like cryptocurrencies to move money outside of the traditional system.
This slide here is a perfect example. For decades, the main financial highway used a messaging system called SWIFT. You can think of it as the GPS for global finance. It tells banks where to send the money. Well, in response to sanctions, Russia and China have now built their own parallel systems, SPFS and CIPS. Now look, they're still small back roads compared to the SWIFT superhighway, but they are functional, they're growing, and they are designed specifically for traffic that doesn't run on dollar fuel.
But this is going way beyond just individual tactics. Which started as a few scattered escape routes are now being paved and connected. They're forming a much more coordinated front.
And this is happening inside these big economic alliances like BRICS+. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and all its new members. By working together, they're aiming to build the infrastructure for a parallel financial system, one that's designed from the ground up to be more resilient to Western sanctions.
And you really can't underestimate the scale here. The BRICS+ nations alone now represent nearly half the world's population and a massive chunk of global economic output. A group this large has the potential to create its own center of economic gravity. When they decide to build a new road, the world really has to pay attention.
All of which leads us to the biggest question of all. Is this entire effort creating a fundamental shift in the world order? Are we actually witnessing the dawn of a multipolar financial future, one with more than one center of power?
So, the crucial question is this: could the very tool that was designed to enforce the rules of the current system actually be the main catalyst for creating a new, competing one? It's a huge unintended consequence that strategists are seriously grappling with right now.
Now, this debate is far from settled, okay? On the one hand, you have concrete evidence. You can see the growing trade in local currencies, you can see the new payment networks. But on the other hand, the dollar's dominance is just immense. It still makes up the vast majority of global reserves, and the current system has enormous inertia. It's deeply woven into the fabric of the global economy.
But here's the key takeaway from all of this.
This is not a theoretical discussion anymore. The concrete is being poured, the asphalt is being laid. These new financial roads are under construction as we speak. So the debate is no longer about if an alternative can exist, but about how big it's going to get and how quickly.
For decades, the map of global finance was easy to draw. It had one clear center. But as these new economic highways are built and get connected, that map is becoming a lot more complex. The question we're all left with is, are we watching it being redrawn in real time?